So this is the challenge, guys. Technology, we have to find a way to overcome, and that's what I've been working on. So yeah, it has been hard, but that said, we do what we can to make sure we get the job done. And tonight we are talking about strength endurance because actually this is one of the most underappreciated aspects of strength training. And in my opinion, I would say it's actually, I think it's more important than anyone says. Oh, so I'm just trying to, I'm just live streaming here on my phone just because my very new laptop is not working. And that's for various reasons, browser reasons, blah, blah, blah. And all those things aside, when it comes down to, they say that fatigue makes cowards of us all. So ultimately, if you want to roll strong, you need to have the strength to endure, and strength endurance is absolutely number one. And why am I harping on about this? Because I had a question about this recently, and people were saying, oh, what's the most important thing? Now, I would actually say maximum strength is the most important thing, but if you cannot go the distance, it doesn't matter. For the best part, most people that we train do enough BJJ so that when it comes time, they are fit enough. The problem is, for most people, they are not doing it in the right way. So, I'm just trying to get that. Hopefully it doesn't fall. We're adjusted. We're in landscape. I was in portrait, but here we are. Thank you for enduring. It's been a bit of a saga. But guys, the reason why I wanted to get into this is I actually did a lot of strength endurance training when I first started kettlebell training. And it absolutely revolutionized my energy. And it also really massively increased my general output for everything. And I actually found that spending time on strength endurance, which is working with lighter weights for longer, actually helped me get stronger in the long term. And I'm going to break down for you exactly why and how that works on a kind of cellular level through your vascularization, through all the pipes that are delivering the blood, the nutrition, the oxygen to your working muscles, and then also how doing hypertrophy or bodybuilding work can actually get in the way of that. So there's a lot of people out there in the gym just doing basic bodybuilding. Why? Because it's simple, you want to look good, get the gains, but then also it's because it's default mode. 3 sets of 10. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that. But really, if we're getting into the hard stuff, which is actually strength endurance, then you're really going to know what it's all about. And I'm going to elaborate to you exactly how you can do that. So essentially, let's look at a definition for strength endurance. Strength endurance, if you're just tuning in, you're wondering why it's weird, I'm actually doing this on a phone. So the phone is horizontal because for YouTube is all about horizontal. Whereas Instagram, Facebook, they love it vertical. So if you're wondering why we got this weird angle and it's kind of strange and I'm maybe not looking directly at the camera because I'm used to looking up, that's why, it's because we're doing it on the phone. So essentially your ability to maintain muscular contractions or a consistent level of muscular force for extended periods of time, which is essentially 45 seconds and longer. So for some people out there, it might be 2 minutes. And then if we do BJJ, it can be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes that you're working really hard continuously. Now, obviously there's ups and downs through the journey of you rolling. Sometimes you've got the back, sometimes you're under side control, you're getting smashed, but you're working the whole time. Your heart rate is elevated. You have to be able to stay working to eventually get the submission. So if we relate this back to training, guys, and that's the important thing, we want your training to translate to the mat. How can you increase your strength endurance? Now, let's take a very basic thing like a kettlebell swing or a squat or a push-up. It was always the way that you'd always try and do more, right? So someone's like, oh, I can do 10 push-ups. Oh, just try and add one more and then add one more. And yes, this is a very basic way that you can improve the specific strength endurance of those muscles, of course. But when it comes to something like pull-ups, where it's more strength related at the start, it only becomes strength endurance once you can do, say, 15 and 20 repetitions. Now, not many people out there can do 15 repetitions, 20 repetitions of a pull-up. Most people are lucky to do 5, if that, right? So what we have to think is when you first start any kind of weightlifting, it's even weights for an experienced lifter that would be light are going to be challenging for you until you learn the coordination, until you learn how to brace and breathe. But once you've been lifting for a while, you can actually look at a weight, like say it was, like I was saying, a kettlebell swing. When you first start with kettlebell training, a 16 kilo kettlebell might feel quite heavy. And 16 kilos is still no joke. So no shade on you if 16 kilos does feel heavy. But once you've trained in kettlebells for a fair while, you'll find that 16 is no longer challenging you. And you can do 20, 30, 40, 50 reps. And you can work for minutes at a time using your posterior chain muscles. So using your glutes, using your hamstrings, using your lower back. Because actually, even though these muscles are built for power, they also have plenty of red muscle fiber types. Now, red muscle fiber types, or type 2 fibers, are your slow twitch muscle fibers, and these are the best for endurance. So here's the thing, guys. If you are trying to improve your energy and your ability to last, it is absolutely key that you are training your body in the right way. Now, it's not as simple as just doing like a million repetitions. We're talking strength endurance. So let us define that. That is your ability to work with 30 to 40% of your 1RM. It's not just like, oh, I can do 1,000 repetitions, this is good. No, that's not the case. What we're talking about is you're taking strength and you are reducing it to a manageable amount for you to be able to work to get the benefits. And I'm going to explain how that works in your body because it happens very quickly. And this is the really cool thing about strength endurance. You can improve it in a week. Literally, your body will adapt and grow new capillaries in a week, or like it's even quicker. Your body adapts really quickly to endurance work. But strength endurance is hard. It's suffering, guys. I don't know if you've ever done it. If you've ever done 100 kettlebell swings, you are gonna feel it. Your lungs are gonna feel like they're gonna explode. Your face is gonna feel on fire. All of these things, what you should know is it is so beneficial. Even though it's hard, it's actually over relatively quickly, even though in the moment you're suffering and it's super tough. So let me explain how this works. So when you start with a 16 kilo kettlebell, say on a swing, you might only be able to do 10, over time 20, 30, 40. And before you know it, you can do 100 swings because your body adapts very quickly. But let me explain what is happening on that cellular level. So if we think about capillaries as pipes, if you build a house, so if you have a house and you have, say, sinks in the house, you have showers, you have all these access points for water, but you don't connect the pipes, you're going to have a lot of people in there asking for water and not getting it. And those are the muscle cells saying, give me oxygen, give me glucose, screaming for it. Now, if you don't have the pipes going into the muscles to supply them, they won't function well. Strength endurance training literally builds those pathways, those pipes directly into the house. So you've got the ice maker, you've got a pipe going into the fridge, you've got a water feature in the living room. You've got as much delivery of what you need into the muscle as you want. Now, you also need the ability to remove it. And so that is also a key thing. So if you've got all the water coming in, but then you've got no way to take it out, this is a problem. So when people do classic bodybuilding training, what you'll notice is bodybuilders typically look very vascular. So what we mean is the veins are on the surface of the skin. And that's because muscles generate a lot of heat. But when you do a lot of hypertrophy training, it tends to push veins and capillaries to the outside of the muscle. That's so you can cool down. If you have a lot of muscle, you generally, and as a rule, will generate more heat. Muscle creates more heat. Well, fat doesn't create heat at all. It's just insulation. So muscle by itself will actually generate heat. Just sitting there, doing nothing at all. If you have a lot of muscle, you generate a lot of heat. So your body, as a compensation, will put all the pipes to the outside so the air can blow over them, and the principle is called convection, to help cool down these big muscles. Now, here's the problem. If all your capillaries and veins are pushed to the periphery of the muscle, the delivery is not as good. So if we step away from the bodybuilding training and we get into proper strength endurance training, that's when, yes indeed, you are going to be getting the pipes going in, there, and everywhere. So you're going to be able to, when you roll, have plenty of energy, the blood's flowing well, and the waste products are going out. This is called vascularization. So it's actually something that occurs very quickly. There have been a few different studies to show, it takes a certain amount of time, but then not that long ago, there was a study to show that it happens within days of you doing strength endurance training. So that's the crazy thing. You can literally make your muscles more efficient at delivering blood, which makes it easier for you to keep on going day after day. So strength endurance training can make you quite sore. So if I said to you, all right, we're going to do 100 kettlebell swings. Oh man, your butt, your hammies, your glutes, you're like, oh my God, my back. It's going to be sore at the start. But then over time, once we find the appropriate weight and we do the appropriate sets and reps, you can actually really chip away at this. And you'll find 100 kettlebell swings, actually after a while won't be too tough. You will actually be able to do multiple sets of 100 kettlebell swings. It sounds kind of crazy, but bear with me guys, because there's a way to build this up. And I'm going to give you some other examples of really good exercises that help build your work capacity. So we're going to talk about GPP. GPP is General Physical Preparedness. This is what they use in the military. This is another really basic way that strength coaches get like football players ready for the season, like in the off season. And also it's a great way that most personal trainers will start a beginner lifter in their journey to health and fitness. Now, part of GPP is making sure your body's ready for like anything. It's making sure you're well-rounded. And really that is what you need for jiu-jitsu, because you have to be ready to play on top. You have to be ready to play on the bottom. And that means you need to be enduring in your upper body, your core, your lower back, your legs. Everything needs to be able to keep going. So let me just rattle off a small list of some of my favorite things to do for strength endurance. So kettlebell swings is number one. Without a doubt, for your grip, your lower back, everything, it's fantastic. Carries. Now, if you don't do any loaded conditioning, as in you don't do any loaded carries, and I'm talking about farmer's walk, so essentially you're holding two heavy dumbbells, kettlebells, or even farmer's walk handles in your hands, you pick them up back straight and you walk a distance, say 20 meters, and you walk back. Now, you can either just keep on walking like Forrest Gump, like just keep going for as long as you can until your grips go, or you can do it for time. So you could set it up, all right, I want to last a minute, and then ultimately build it up until you're holding those very heavy weights for anywhere up to 5 minutes at a time. And that's tough, guys. I've done that. I think the heaviest I've done for 5 minutes is 36 kilos in each hand. But if, typically if you're doing just pure strength, like when you see on World's Strongest Man, they'll be putting like 150, 180 kilos in either hand. That's a totally different story. So what we're thinking for you guys is we need a weight that you can sustain for at least a minute. If you can't hold it, well, or maybe 45 seconds. Let's say 45 seconds, we'll be conservative so you can build up. If you can't hold it for that period of time, then it's too heavy. Like I said before, we're aiming for 30 to 40% of your maximum effort. Another position which is great for carrying is on your chest in the rack position, because this works your core and shoulders in a different way. And then also overhead position, arms overhead, walking along, nice jiu-jitsu bruise, how you like me now. And then also you can do sandbag carries. There's a lot of different carries, and Zercher, or Zerker. So it's where you're carrying the barbell across your biceps like that. just across here, holding it into your chest. So if you've seen a World's Strongest Man, you'll see him doing a yoke carry, and that's really tough too. So that's where you put it across the shoulders, you pick up a big heavy weight, and you kind of go as far as you can until you feel like you're going to collapse or explode. These are fantastic ways for you to improve the strength endurance through your entire body. Now, only third to that, I would say sled, pushing, and pulling. If you don't do any sled work, you're missing out. You don't even have to put much weight on a sled, and you push that as hard as you can, 20 meters forward, 20 meters back, you are gonna feel it. Now, to do sled work continuously is incredibly demanding, but really high yield. So one of the best things you can do is set the timer for a minute and then just see how many sets of up and back you can do. You might have 10 meters, you might have 20 meters, but pushing the sled up and then dragging it back. Doing the backpedaling is fantastic for developing really well-balanced knees, as well as really pumping lactate through your quads and your calves and everything else for that matter. So going up and back is a fantastic way to use a sled. You don't have to go ballistic and sprint, but working continuously for that kind of 45 seconds plus is the challenge. Let yourself recover and repeat this for sets. Oof. Now, I'm not big on running, as you know, but another way that you can really improve your strength endurance is by doing middle distance sprinting or running. So 400 meters to 800 meters are brutal distances. It really kills you because it's not a long distance, but it's also not a short distance. Like, you're working really hard for anywhere between 50 seconds all the way through to 2 minutes or more, and you're not going slow. That's why it's strength endurance. You're doing repeated efforts of power continuously for up to 2 minutes. This is incredibly demanding. You do produce plenty of lactate, but we're getting that benefit of, increased vascular development within the muscle. And that's why it's valuable. Doing repeated efforts at 400 to 800 meters is some of the most brutal training you'll ever do. I did some of it in high school. I did some of it in my mid-20s when I was doing Taekwondo. I haven't done it recently, but if you know, you know. And guys, other examples of strength endurance are hangs. So if you've been following the program online, you know that we love to finish our programming with grip training and core training. And some of the grip training is hanging. It's very simple. Grab a bar and hang. Can you hang for a minute? Can you hang for 2 minutes? Just passive hanging does a lot to really improve your strength endurance in your grip, which is the most important thing for jiu-jitsu. If you don't have strength endurance in jiu-jitsu, you're going to struggle. Even whether it's gi or no gi, your ability to maintain your grip is absolutely key for you being able to control your opponent. So just doing hangs, you can do like chest to bar, and that's super tough as an isometric, but it will be hard to make that last 45 seconds. I would say if you can do a chest to bar hang for 30 seconds, you are doing very well. 90-degree hang, like a flexed hang, this position here, also incredibly tough. To be able to be there for more than 30 seconds is a big challenge. So you might want to build up to that. The place that I advise you to start is just straight hang, just like that, gripping, keeping your core tight, staying active, but try not to fall off. Your goal is to be able to do 5 sets of 1 minute. There it is. Also, if we look at something like a plank or a hollow body, because some of you out there may have done these exercises before, holding these positions for a minute is crazy. The amount of tension you get through your midsection, shoulders, hips, and lower back is really full on. But what is great about this is you are actually improving your ability to tolerate this stress. So when it comes to rolling time, you can do it. If you have to hold a position really strong, like really tense your abs and really fight somebody from your guard, or you're on top and you're fighting a sweep and you have to be there for 10, 20, 30 seconds, just really battling it out. If you've trained it, you'll be able to do it. We do not rise to the height of our hopes. We fall to the lows of our training. If you have not trained to endure, you will not. So my friends, that is why I am putting it on you. Strength endurance is so important. So let me just reiterate. If you are not doing kettlebell swings, loaded carrying, loaded conditioning, sled pushing or pulling, 400, 800 meter sprinting, hangs, planks, if we're not doing this kind of training, we are not training our strength endurance. Now, if you're rolling, sure, this is specific endurance training, and that's great. But actually, if you really want to get the edge, don't go run a 5K. Don't run 10Ks. Don't do something that's going to last hours. Because when you do jiu-jitsu, it doesn't last that long. We want you to be strong for an entire 5 minutes. But you need to find something that you can first do for 30 seconds, build it to 40, build it to 50, build it to a minute, and then do multiple sets at a minute. Once you're very expert, then we can look at having you work continuously for 5 minutes. And that's some advanced stuff. I will be doing a video on this for our YouTube tomorrow, which will be coming out very soon, guys, around carries. Loaded conditioning is one of the best ways for you to improve your endurance and your gas tank for BJJ. So stay tuned and you'll be able to see it. Apologies for all of the technical issues in the last couple of days. I got a new laptop. We're still not quite got it synced, but we make it happen whatever way we can. I really appreciate your time to tune in, guys. And thank you so much. If you have any suggestions for any videos like this, I'm happy to elaborate on anything you would like to better understand to my own limited ability, my own limited knowledge. I do research for each of these. So if there is a concept that I'm not entirely across, I'll do a deep dive, I'll condense it, and I'll make it as simple as I can for you guys. Please feel free to leave a question in the comments or just let me know what you thought of the video. Thank you guys, I appreciate you all. And between now and when I see you next, stay bulletproof.